Hi there, everyone. Welcome to our podcast series, Mastering Writing Skills. My name is Linda, and I'm so glad you're here with us today.
And I'm Leo. We're excited to help you improve your English writing skills. Whether you're at an elementary level or an intermediate level, this podcast is for you. Today, we're starting with the basics, but don't worry, we'll guide you step by step.
Yes, Leo. Writing can seem hard at first, but with a little practice and some tips, you can get better quickly. Today, we're going to talk about why writing is important, and we'll start by looking at some simple ways to improve your writing.
Right, Linda. Writing is a big part of learning English. It helps you communicate your thoughts clearly, whether you're sending a message to a friend or writing an essay for school. And guess what? The more you write, the easier it gets.
Absolutely, Leo. So, let's dive in. First, let's talk about why writing is such an important skill. When we write, we are putting our thoughts into words. This is powerful because it helps us organize our ideas and share them with others.
That's true, Linda. When you write, you're not just using words. You're also thinking about how to connect those words to make sense. This helps you understand English better, and it also helps other people understand you. Writing is like building a bridge between your mind and the reader's mind.
Well said, Leo. Now, let's talk about some simple things you can do to start improving your writing. One of the first steps is to read more. When you read, you see how words fit together in sentences. This helps you learn new words and ideas, and it also helps you see how sentences are built.
Exactly, and don't worry if you don't understand everything you read at first. Just try to find stories or articles that are interesting to you. The more you read, the more you'll start to see patterns in how sentences are made. This will help you when you start writing your own sentences.
Another good tip is to write a little every day. You don't have to write a lot, but try to write something. Even if it's just a sentence or two, you can write about your day, your feelings, or something interesting you saw. The important thing is to practice.
And here's something fun you can do: try keeping a journal. In your journal, you can write anything you want. There's no right or wrong way to do it. This is your space to practice writing without feeling like it has to be perfect. Just write whatever comes to your mind.
That's a great idea, Leo. Journaling is a perfect way to practice because it's just for you. Plus, you can look back at what you wrote after a few weeks and see how much you've improved.
Another thing that helps is to learn new words. The more words you know, the easier it is to write. You can start by learning just one new word each day. Write it down and use it in a sentence. Try to remember it and use it again later.
Yes, and you can also play word games or use flashcards to help you remember new words. The more you practice with these words, the more natural it will feel to use them in your writing.
So, to recap, today we've talked about why writing is important and shared some easy tips to help you get started. Remember, reading more, writing a little every day, keeping a journal, and learning new words are all great ways to start improving your writing skills.
Exactly, Leo. And don't forget, writing is a skill, and like any skill, it takes time and practice to get better. But with each day, you'll see progress. And we'll talk more about how to organize your thoughts and create clear, simple sentences.
Okay, Linda.
Yes, Leo. Writing isn't just about putting words on a page, it's about communicating your ideas in a way that others can understand. And to do that, you need to organize your thoughts before you start writing.
Right, let's start by talking about why organizing your thoughts is so important. When you organize your thoughts, you make sure that your writing has a clear beginning, middle, and end. This helps your reader follow your ideas easily. Imagine if you told a story but started with the ending, it would be confusing, right?
Absolutely. Think of your writing like building a house. You wouldn't start with the roof, you'd start with the foundation, then the walls, and finally the roof. Writing is similar. You need to have a strong foundation for your ideas, and then you can build on that to create a complete piece of writing.
That's a great comparison, Linda. So, how do we start organizing our thoughts? A good first step is to decide on the main idea or topic you want to write about. This is the central point of your writing, and everything else you write should connect back to this main idea.
Yes, and once you have your main idea, you can start thinking about the details you want to include. These details should support or explain your main idea. For example, if your main idea is about why exercise is important, your details might include the benefits of exercise, how it helps your body, and how it can make you feel better.
Exactly, and here's a tip before you start writing. Try making a list or a simple outline of your main idea and the details you want to include. This will help you see how your ideas fit together and make sure you don't forget anything important.
That's a really useful tip, Leo. Now, let's talk about how to turn those organized thoughts into clear, simple sentences. One of the best ways to do this is to start with a basic sentence structure. In English, a simple sentence usually has 3 parts: the subject, the verb, and the object.
Right, Linda. The subject is the person or thing doing the action. The verb is the action itself, and the object is what receives the action. For example, in the sentence, the dog chased the ball. The dog is the subject, chased is the verb, and the ball is the object.
Yes, and keeping your sentences simple like this is a great way to make sure your writing is clear. You don't need to use big words or complex sentences to express your ideas. In fact, simple sentences are often easier to understand and more powerful.
Absolutely, but as you get more comfortable with writing, you can start experimenting with different types of sentences. For example, you can combine two simple sentences to make a longer sentence. Let's take the sentences, the dog chased the ball and the ball rolled away. You can combine them into one sentence. The dog chased the ball, but the ball rolled away.
That's a great example, Leo. Combining sentences like this can make your writing more interesting and help your ideas flow better. But remember, even when you use longer sentences, it's important to keep them clear and easy to understand.
Exactly, Linda. And another thing to keep in mind is the order of your sentences. Just like how you organize your thoughts before writing, you also want to organize your sentences in a way that makes sense. Usually, you'll start with an introduction to your main idea, then add details or examples, and finally, you'll have a conclusion or closing sentence.
That's right, Leo. Think of your writing like a journey. You want to guide your reader from the beginning to the end without getting them lost. Each sentence should lead naturally to the next one, so your reader can follow your ideas easily.
And speaking of guiding your reader, let's talk about transition words. Transition words are like bridges between your sentences and ideas. They help connect your thoughts and make your writing flow smoothly. Some common transition words are first, next, then, however, because, and finally.
Yes, transition words are super helpful, especially when you're trying to show the order of events or explain how two ideas are related. For example, you might say, first, I made a list of ideas. Then, I chose the most important ones to write about. This helps the reader understand the steps you took.
And another example could be, I like cats because they are friendly. However, I don't have a cat because I'm allergic. Here, because explains the reason, and however shows a contrast between the two ideas.
Those are great examples, Leo. So, to sum up what we've talked about today, organizing your thoughts before you write is key to making your writing clear and easy to follow. Start with a main idea, add supporting details, and use simple sentence structures. Remember to use transition words to connect your ideas and help your writing flow smoothly.
Exactly, Linda. And don't forget, practice is important. The more you practice organizing your thoughts and writing clear sentences, the better you'll get. And we'll talk about how to edit and revise your writing to make it even better.
Yes, editing and revising are really important steps in the writing process.
Exactly.
Yes, Leo, and now let's start by talking about revising. When you revise your writing, you're looking at the big picture. You're thinking about your ideas, how they're organized, and how clear they are. Revising is all about making sure your writing says what you wanted to say.
Yes, and one of the first things to ask yourself when revising is, does my writing have a clear main idea? Remember, we talked about having a central idea that everything else connects to. When revising, check if that main idea is strong and easy to find. If it's not, you might need to add more details or move things around to make it clearer.
That's a great point, Leo. Another thing to look at when revising is the organization of your writing. Ask yourself, does everything make sense in the order it's in? Sometimes you might find that one part of your writing would work better in a different place. Moving sentences or paragraphs around can help your ideas flow better.
Absolutely, and don't forget to check if each paragraph focuses on a single idea. Each paragraph should be like a small package of information that supports your main idea. If you find a paragraph that's talking about more than one thing, it might be a good idea to split it into 2 paragraphs.
That's a great tip, Leo. And while you're revising, pay attention to your transitions. We talked about transition words. They help connect your ideas and guide your reader through your writing. When revising, make sure your transitions are smooth and that each sentence leads naturally to the next one.
Yes, transitions are really important. And here's something else to think about. Is your writing engaging? Does it keep the reader's interest? One way to make your writing more engaging is to add examples or stories that help explain your ideas. If you're writing about a topic, think about how you can make it interesting for your reader.
That's so true, Leo. Adding examples, stories, or even questions can really bring your writing to life and make it more relatable. It's like having a conversation with your reader. You want to keep them interested and help them understand what you're talking about.
Exactly. So once you've revised your writing and you're happy with the big picture, it's time to move on to editing. Editing is different from revising because it focuses on the details. When you edit, you're looking for mistakes in spelling, grammar, punctuation, and word choice.
Yes, editing is like polishing your writing. You're making sure everything is correct and that your writing is as clear and easy to read as possible. One of the first things to check when editing is your spelling. Even small spelling mistakes can make your writing hard to understand, so it's important to catch them.
Right, Linda, and grammar is another big part of editing. Make sure your sentences follow the basic rules of English grammar. For example, check that your subjects and verbs agree in number. This means that if your subject is singular, your verb should be singular too. And if your subject is plural, your verb should be plural.
Yes, and don't forget to check your punctuation. Punctuation marks, like periods, commas, and question marks, are small but important. They help your reader understand your sentences. For example, a comma can change the meaning of a sentence. Let's eat grandma is very different from let's eat grandma.
That's a great example, Linda. Punctuation really matters. And when you're editing, also look at your word choice. Are you using the best words to express your ideas? Sometimes a different word can make your writing clearer or more interesting. If you find a word that doesn't quite fit, try replacing it with a better one.
Definitely, Leo. And here's a tip. When you're editing, try reading your writing out loud. This can help you catch mistakes that you might not notice when reading silently. When you read out loud, you can hear how your sentences sound and see if they flow well together.
That's a great tip, Linda. Reading out loud is also a good way to check for run-on sentences or sentences that are too long. If you find yourself running out of breath while reading a sentence, it might be too long and need to be broken into smaller sentences.
Yes, and speaking of sentences, remember to vary your sentence length. Using a mix of short and long sentences can make your writing more interesting. If all your sentences are the same length, your writing might feel a bit flat. Mixing it up keeps your reader engaged.
That's a really good point, Linda. Variety in sentence length can really add rhythm to your writing. And as you edit, don't forget to check for consistency. Make sure you're using the same tense throughout your writing and that your style and tone stay consistent. If you start writing in a formal tone, try to keep that tone all the way through.
Yes, consistency is key. It helps your writing feel more professional and polished. And finally, after you've done all your revising and editing, take a moment to read through your writing one last time. This final read-through is like a safety check to make sure everything is just right.
Exactly, Linda, and remember, it's okay if your writing isn't perfect. Every time you revise and edit, you're getting better. Writing is a process, and each step planning, writing, revising, and editing helps you improve.
That's so true, Leo. So, to recap what we've covered today, revising is all about looking at the big picture, making sure your ideas are clear, organized, and engaging. Editing is about focusing on the details, correcting spelling, grammar, punctuation, and making sure your word choice is the best it can be.
And don't forget, reading your writing out loud and doing a final read-through are great ways to catch any last mistakes and make sure your writing is as polished as possible.
Yes, we hope these tips will help you feel more confident when revising and editing your writing. In our next episode, we'll talk about how to write for different purposes, like writing a letter, an essay, or a story. Each type of writing has its own style, and we'll give you tips on how to approach them.
That's right, we're looking forward to exploring different writing styles with you.
Keep writing, keep revising, keep editing. We'll see you next time. And one last thing before we go, if you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to share it with your friends and family who might also find it helpful. You can also leave a review and let us know what you think. Your feedback means a lot to us and helps us make our content even better.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you found these tips helpful. And keep practicing and stay positive.
Bye for now.
Goodbye.